Hello guys, this video is about not mixing up languages. That's a really common problem. And I read it a lot, this problem a lot in the comments. And yeah, I want to say if you have some other tips, please share it in the comments below too, because it might be really helpful for other language learners. And I have the same problem too. I'm struggling a lot now because I'm learning Spanish now and I already knew Portuguese. And you might think like, hey, if you already know another Roman language, then the other one has to be easy. But of course it is, but you have to be really careful that you're not mixing them up. So first of all, I want to say that it's important to first have at least a B1 level in one of the two languages which are really similar. So if you already know Portuguese and you want to learn Spanish, first make sure that you really know the main stuff of Portuguese and then go for Spanish. That's what I'm now doing. So I'm now learning Spanish and I have a B1 level in Portuguese. Alright. Second, I think it's really useful to practice both of the languages. So what many people do is that when they're learning a new language is that they forget the other language. I think that's not a good idea. I think it's important to keep practicing, keep studying, and for example, what I sometimes do is I use Skype, and I'm going to Skype with someone who knows more than 3-4 languages, and then I'm going to try and to speak all those languages which we have in common. So if you're learning two languages which are really similar, try to know someone who speaks both of them. So that might be a really good trick. Yeah, for example, many people from Brazil, they also know Spanish. So if you're practicing with someone from Brazil who already also know Spanish, then he or she might know the differences between those languages. And yeah, of course, it's the same when you want to learn German. Then you can maybe practice with someone who is Dutch and who also speaks German. That might be helpful. Another trick is to translate 2 times. So if you're learning the new language, so for example Spanish, and you already know Portuguese, try to translate anytime in your new lessons to Portuguese as well, 2 times, because then you can really recognize the differences and you're training yourself in not forgetting the other language, and that's really important. If you're learning a new language and you're not taking care of the other language anymore, then you might get confused, and at a later stage you're mixing up all the words, all the verbs and stuff like that, and you don't want that. So I think that's really helpful. And maybe in a later stage, when you have a good progress, you can even translate from Spanish to Portuguese, or from Portuguese to Spanish, or from Dutch to German. And that's, yeah, that you're really training yourself in seeing the small differences between two languages which are really similar. So these are my tips. I have one more tip, and that is to use the same language program which you also use for the other language. So the same books or the same program or anything what you use for the other language, please use it for the other language too, because then you have the same structure and you learn the same words and verbs, and you're not learning totally different stuff. So you can really compare anything what you've learned in the two languages. As I said, if you have any other comments for this problem, please share it below the video, because there's my channel for to share our experiences about languages. Alright, have a nice day. Cheers.